What's going on, everybody? My name is Barney, and today I will be talking to you about the subject if EA can sue Raw Vengeance for making almost an identical game. In this case, it's about the game Renegade Line. So to begin with a little bit of history for the people who haven't experienced everything about how Renegade Line arose, in the summer of 2009, DICE released the game Battlefield Heroes. DICE stands for EA Digital Illusions CE. It is fully enhanced by EA, and later in time Battlefield Heroes got taken over by Easy Studios, which also was from EA. Battlefield Heroes was a third-person cartoon shooter which was made for casual play. There was no competitive mode, it was just about having fun. Battlefield Heroes was notorious for being extremely pay to win, since you could unlock better weapons by investing real money into the game. The game was a success around 2009, 2010 and 2011. Around 2012 and 2013, the game was losing a lot of interest due to lack of the updates, new content, bug fixes, and mostly trying to grind as much money as possible. A lot of true fans and supporters already left the game. Because the game was ruined, in their opinion, you could just feel the closure of the game coming really soon, which got announced on the April 15th of 2015. And so all the servers shut down on the 14th of July in 2015. So what does this have to do with the Renegade Line? The core of Raw Vengeance used to be BFH players and wanted to create a new BFH, a BFH 2.0, on their own way and fix the mistakes BFH had made. Raw Vengeance Games was founded in 2014 and released Renegade Line, the announcement of Renegade Line that it will be a game, on the 14th of July in 2015. Coincidence? I think not. So here you see two screenshots of both games. You can just see how similar these games look, which is the purpose of Renegade Line. They don't want to rip off the game entirely though. They want to make a new Battlefield Heroes with almost the same identical graphics, but the gameplay will be a lot different and more competitive. Vital Bullet, which was an employee of EA working on the game Battlefield Heroes as a community manager, if my memory is right. So he tweeted at iScratch, the community manager of Raw Vengeance for the game Renegade Line. This message can mean several things. It might be a warning to scare Renegade Line to be extremely careful of copying, because otherwise you will get sued by us. Well, he works for Ubisoft right now, so I don't think it's that way. Vital Bullet wants to say that to iScratch or Raw Vengeance. I think he meant it in the way as to be extremely careful with what you do against a multi-millionaire company which isn't scared of the courtroom. If you do something similar, they will probably sue you and they will be right, and your game will be ruined, your lives will be ruined because you can't pay the money. That's what he wants to say, I think. And I agree completely with Vital Bullet. Of course you should be aware of EA, since they still have the rights of Battlefield Heroes. But Vital Bullet thought that what he saw was suable. But to what extent is Vital Bullet right? Of course, Raw Vengeance should be careful. Are they in the danger zone already? That's what we're going to research in this video. So I'm going to explain 4 basic principles about IP protection in this video, and I'm going to apply them to BFH and Renegade Line. Keep in mind that I'm not a professional, so if I'm wrong, please do correct me if you're a professional. So the first thing is trademark protection. Basically, this means that EA can bring out their game FIFA, but they can't publish a game called Pro Evolution Soccer, since Pro Evolution Soccer has a trademark by Konami. They made the game. However, trademark protection doesn't protect against brand comparisons. FIFA and PES are both comparable games, and they are both made legally, which is a good thing, of course. So if someone wants to release a platform game, they cannot publish it as a platformer from Nintendo like Mario. So how does this affect BFH and Renegade Line? Raw Vengeance can publish their third-person cartoon shooter under their name. It's legal as long as they won't publish it under EA's name or Battlefield Heroes. But there's more. As a company, you can't trademark functional elements. For example, you can't copyright jumping or shooting in a game, since it's so basic. Everyone has it in their game. So the questions we have to ask are, To what extent is Renegade Line doing this? We already know that rocket jumping is a possibility in Renegade Line. But can EA copyright rocket jumping? I don't think so. Really, I don't think so. Otherwise, Team Fortress 2 would have been down by now already. No one can copyright rocket jumping, walking, jumping, or whatever in a game. So, number 2, copyright. Copyright protects fixed embodiments of audiovisual work, as well as performance and distribution. So this means that if you're making an exact copy, a photo or a print, whatever, and you try to sell it, then you're busy illegally. So that means if they're going to recreate Battlefield Heroes entirely because they missed the game and they try to make money off it, it's very illegal. It's very illegal. So that's called copyright infringement. And this would be the case if Raw Vengeance would make a game called Battlefield Heroes 2, which has the same visuals, audio, and mechanics. But they're not doing that. If you make a popular painting from scratch, this would be seen as transformative use. This is the case for Renegade Line. They're making all of their codings on their own from scratch based on Battlefield Heroes' graphics. This is seen as transformative use. You can also make satirical content which doesn't violate the law. For example, Vampire Suck and Twilight. Vampire Suck is a recreation of Twilight in a satirical way. But this isn't the case with the Renegade Line, so this isn't really important to the case, but still you can make satirical content. That's also transformative use. So right there, it counts as well that you can't copyright functional elements. This means that you can make the exact game like Monopoly or even BFH, as long as you don't use the same graphic materials as the owner of the game does. There are tons of copies of Monopoly, but you can't sue them because they have other graphics. Just because of the sake, you can't copyright gameplay mechanics. So, number 3 are patents. So, this is where it gets a bit tricky. You can own a patent of functional elements, inventions, algorithms, techniques, methods, chemical compositions, and a whole lot of other things, which is a big problem. Why do you think? You can sue someone for a lot of money if you have a patent. And with patents come corruption. So if you Google Electronic Arts patents, you can see which patents EA owns. There are 26 patents for EA, and there are some really interesting patents. One of them is systems and methods for managing gameplay history. So basically they have a patent on their way of managing gameplay history, and if they see someone copying that method, they can sue them for a ton of money and win the court. And there are 25 more of these kinds of patents for EA. So this is something I'd suggest to Raw Vengeance to do a bit of research on and see which things apply for them, since it's a lot of text and it will take ages for me to study, which I don't think is worth just for this video, since I already put a lot of time into this one. There are also a lot of things you can't have a patent on, which are natural discoveries like gold and pure algorithms like Newton's laws. Video games are basically pure mathematics, so basically you can't patent these either. And finally, number 4, trade secret. This just means that if you have a secret ingredient in your product, you and everyone else who knows about it has to keep it for themselves. They can't tell it to everyone because they will get sued for a lot of money. Fun fact about Coca-Cola: the 2 people who know the secret behind Coca-Cola can never fly on the same plane, just so the secret will get protected. So, to go back to our original question, will EA sue Renegade Line? I don't think so. As long as Raw Vengeance creates everything from scratch, it's as legal as me pissing in my own backyard. One thing Raw Vengeance has to be aware of is the patents which EA owns, which are especially for Battlefield Heroes or maybe even some other mechanics, but then you can also look at the patents from other companies and then your research will be endless, which is not a good thing. In conclusion, if you want to make a platformer or even a third-person shooter, you should be able to make your own version, which is legal at the moment and which has been done already. There are thousands of platformers, and this should be the case with third-person shooters. I'm not saying that there should be thousands of them, but in theory, it should be legal to do that. and everyone should be able to make their own game as long as it's not a replica and they made everything on their own. So guys, thanks so much if you made it to the end of this video. I had to do a lot of research on this video. So if you like this kind of video, please slap a like on the video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Later.